thing that maybe
triggering certain senses within you to get you to change behaviors or to change your energetic vibration to attract those things. So, for example, if you were doing a money spell or a work spell and you started using herbs or things like that you had actually eat, like basil money spells, my theory is that it's actually making you hungry and you don't realize it. So having the influence of those herbs around, suddenly your body is like, well, I think I'm hungry. Maybe I'm going to work extra hard today so that I can get extra money so I can buy more food. And you don't realize you're doing it. And then on an energetic web, I mean, there are people out there who really do believe, and I'm one of them, that we're actually all part of the same atom in a strange way, and that we're all, it's just our perceptions that keep us apart, so everything that's happening energetically within you is impacting everything energetically around you. So when you're changing your energetic vibration in this cell to attract opportunities in your life, like, for example, more money, then the money that's out there is going to be energetically attracted to you and start coming into your bank account or coming into your life through opportunities at your job or new employment or increase in business. And then also on the spiritual level, I am a polytheist, and I believe that the spirits that are around us are going to help us and serve us, and then when you're doing a spell, you are giving a sign to the spirit world saying, hey, you see this? This looks like money. Can you go find some stuff that looks like that and bring it into my life? And they're going to be like, okay, if you do some stuff for us too, like leave us a tree or, leave us something offering on our grave so that we don't feel forgotten, and we'll be happy to help you out. How does that sound? Does that make sense?
And welcome.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me.
Yes.
I have a question from New York Lily, and she said that she's heard that the difference between prayer and spells is asking a prayer, but you demand in a spell. Is that true?
Doing the family thing, traveling.
Yes and no. I think there's a lot of demanding that goes on in prayer as well. When I've been to Ireland several times.
Because it's either they're listening to this live or it's an archive
people have literally written notes
podcast.
saying, if you don't cause my ankle to get better, I am never donating to the church again. I swear you, Saint so-and-so, I will turn your school upside down. So that's supposed to be a prayer, but it certainly hasn't. And I've certainly myself done spells where I really like to see something happen, and if it could be for the best of all worlds,
can you actually say the enormous amount that it actually works?
And the difference between prayers and spells is that spells, I think, are much more concentrated. They're like turning your flashlight beam. You paranormal investigators will totally get this, I'm sure. Turning your flashlight beam onto more like a narrow
and did all the dishes, and did all the laundry, and put all the laundry away, and cleaned out the upstairs.
So it goes out in a broader area.
For like another 6
months. Not. One is not better than the other, but there are times when you really need to single your light on a very specific maybe you don't need to put that much energy on it, so you can just kind of hope for more light in general direction that will serve you.
Okay. Makes sense to me.
Tonight,
so what is the most popular spell?
The most popular spell request that I get most people get is for healing.
Really?
Right out the gate pronounced.
I would never.
So I would think love.
I would think love, because when I do readings and whatnot, it's always about love, love.
So,
when am I going to get love? Tell me, when is my love coming into my life? And
Chris, when is my love coming into my life?
I will, of course.
Yeah, of course.
I was going to say, Chris, when has you never? I agree with you on that. When I do readings, it's almost always love or money. It's usually people want to their relationship. But when people approach witches to ask for help, more often than not,
you consider yourself a star seed as well?
It's because of healing, and in many cases, because the healing is something that
we've had one.
It gets to a level of desperation.
Brown,
medical things aren't working, or the person just needs to go to spiritual people in addition to working with the medical people. I do not believe that witchcraft has ever been used in place of medical treatment.
It's probably been like 8 months.
That's something that we, when people do come to us for healing, we do ask them, what are you doing with your doctor?
I'm sure you get, all
tell us
kinds
about
of
the treatments that you have going on, because
questions.
you can't abandon
you're going to get
all this wonderful medical technology we have out there. We will certainly do magic
to help
tell with medical treatments to the best of their ability, but you can't imagine them and
of course, like most other contacting
families. A lot of times people won't reach out to
the family. We all here know that. All our listeners should know it, and if you don't know it, then Nicole will be by to hit you in the head with a hammer because you're an idiot.
Healing is the most important one. I think also because people come to me asking for love or money themselves.
Thanks. I like that you're so informed and you make your listeners.
I don't want to be linked to whatever the situation is.
Yes.
Unless it's
yes, absolutely.
Like,
about me, my blood kind of an interesting life thus far, even though I'm just 25.
Yeah, the number one
early age, I started to have experiences with ETs.
I'm stunned. I would never ever have thought that.
I didn't consciously remember a lot of that.
I wonder what our listeners think. I mean, that's stunning to me. I mean, I do a lot of healing. I do a lot of healing work. But when it comes, when
translated into my healing and
they
my
want to know
art,
about love,
so
and
become this.
It blows me away. I wouldn't have. I really wouldn't have thought that.
Mix of all these things that I am.
In your opinion, what's the easiest
my whole family was, obviously, because they usually take whole families, and sometimes they raise maybe one kid out or one parent out, but for the most part, they take the whole family. And my dad actually remembered seeing Barbara Lamb, who's one of the
I'm a big fan of a good old-fashioned house cleansing.
I feel like that remembers a lot of it. My brother is not into it at all, and my mom
speaking of springtime, this is a really good time
she doesn't necessarily want to remember yet. And
when people start to feel cranky in their lives,
definite conversations with my grandma, who's LDS in Salt Lake City, about
and they find that even
a lot of
recollections
and things that she
help.
Like she's actually somewhat seen the hiding kids, like in her house when I was
cleansing waters and things. We do use a broom. I have a big old broomstick staring at right now. We get the frankincense in there. We get the agave in there. You just cleanse all the bad stuff that's out of the house, and that tends to do so much for.
That's interesting. You got the mix
people on a holistic level. Their relationships improve. Their jobs can improve.
Do you consider that more of a denial on your brother's end, or he just doesn't want to be a part of coming public?
Everybody's getting raises. Everybody's really happy.
I would say that it's those are denial thing. I don't even think that it's really conscious.
Now I have to agree with you that the state hearings are very important and they do a lot of very good things. But I wouldn't consider that a spell at all. I mean, why would you consider that a spell? If you're just going in there and actually clearing space.
And I won't go into
if I was going in and if I was cleansing, like, okay, I got to do a vacuuming, that's one thing. But when you're doing a spiritual cleansing, you're doing it with intention. I'm cleansing all the dark corners of this space. I am intending that this space now become one of balance and one of health. And that is a spell because you are energetically imposing an intention into an area, or I used to call it the vehicle, but when you're cleansing a house, the house becomes the vehicle for the intention.
Don't be surprised. You'll still get questions.
I completely agree with this. You know what I do here.
You won't get badgered, at least.
I move all the furniture around. I actually move everything at every corner of a room and redesign the whole room, like every so often.
What's she like?
It gives a new life.
Everybody's worried about me. The truth is, I'm so apathetic that it really doesn't
I wouldn't consider that a spell, but the way she described it,
that's why I bring it to the table. I'll talk to her
about it. Let's just take the other side of things. So there's people out there that would say, well, you're a witch, and
you gotta be skeptical, but then willing to.
So what do you think of that?
To change if the correct evidence
I think that would be pretty silly.
So
I've had arguments with people about this before, and I've just learned to walk away from that because if they really think that cleansing a house and doing something
now if you want to start mixing in interdimensional Bigfoot,
to bless a child. I remember I had my goddaughter.
I've actually heard that
friend of mine
Bigfoot
told me outright he did not want to go because he did not believe in what we were doing because it's completely
our original DNA.
So your spiritual beliefs don't approve of blessing babies.
That original involved into what
part of it.
Perceive as
okay, well that's fine.
Interdimensional.
You don't have to be part of it.
I think that makes sense, but definitely not. It
doesn't
exist in this reality, and we're missing it. You know,
Logistics alone for me blow it.
People are entitled to their opinions as long as they don't stop them in a way that is abusive towards me or the ones that I love. And I just think
he's smart enough to stay hidden, but he's not smart enough to build fire and wear pants.
Well, people mock what they don't understand. I mean, and listen, I get it all the time. Also, I've been called the white devil. I've been called devil worshiper because I channel spirits. So that's coming from ignorance. So I don't have people like that much.
I've even had family members, right? This is how the Church of Second Sight got formed, because my contented woman, I don't know what the hell he is, husband, said we were devil worshippers because we have this radio show and we explore these topics. It's just a matter of ignorance, really.
Somebody that called me a devil worshiper, I do exorcisms. I get rid of negative. Why would somebody consider me a devil worshiper? It's beyond me. Let's get into the whole people thinking that witches are evil. I think it comes down to black magic.
What is crazy? Like us, being individual robots.
There has to be a fine line between the two.
So I mean, I think.
Well, I actually don't even believe in black magic or white magic, for a couple of reasons. One, I think the term to associate something being, being negative and positive as white is just
so how long have you guys had the website?
Ugly way of associating.
We've had the website up since the beginning of summer,
and I won't do it. But I think that magic is not good or bad. Magic
we haven't that long started creating videos.
And I've probably used this analogy before. I feel like it's the best one I've got. Is that
I can share
magic is a scalpel.
Those who want to
and scalpel.
And it's not really big.
And if it's in the hands of someone who is trained in how to use scalpel,
talking about
who is using it to improve things, to heal things,
it ended up becoming this big thing.
But if it's in the hands of someone who has negative intent, or just as bad, someone who doesn't know how to use the scalpel,
it's definitely striking court damage. There's some kind of resonance or
scalpel is not the issue. It's the person that's wielding it. Make sure they know how to use
the instrument,
which in this case would be magic. And also to be using it for reasons that are positive ones, healthy ones,
laugh
ones that
and call it
improve.
crazy to your face and in front of your friends, and then you ever run into this little trickle of them coming to you later on
kind of a
saying,
in witchcraft called
I've got a friend that had that experience in one way or another, whether it be alien or paranormal, you start getting those questions and
positive happiness light all the time.
And I know that there are some clarity for our listeners here because I'm a little bit confused. I imagine our listeners must be. Which element of Bridget's area of expertise are we discussing right now?
Hey, we live in New York.
Some others call crazy.
We have to say, no, stop, leave me alone, go away.
The hybrid area?
And then most of the time we can be pretty cool and cordial.
Just to take it back to Idiot 101, because that's me.
Right.
So
what exactly is a hybrid?
There's that element as well, but
perfect.
I mean, tell people that using magic for reasons
so you sort of be
jealousy or spite or revenge is an incorrect.
So when they're taken, which is a soul agreement, so it's not. I mean, on some level, even if it's unconscious, they decided to experience.
Do you find that it's easier for people to
they get taken up by this Zeta Reticuli, who is another parallel reality?
I find much more people use
and so they get taken up to their ship, and these Zeta Reticuli is the grade.
I think that the amount of negativity someone would need to
DNA, sperm, eggs, whatever, and what they're doing is their race is
it's a big drain on the energy, and I like to think most people have that.
By this point, it is.
I find that there are a lot of people, though, that really do want to bring positive things to their life.
And so what they're doing is they're mixing their DNA with our DNA. To
bring
continue their race
to other people. I've come across a couple of people that do,
hybrid children are a mix of Zeta Reticuli and humans.
Their activity can be pretty short-lived, just because when you're putting that, when you're spewing that much negativity, you're going to have so much back at you. You're going to be too busy dealing with all that negative stuff going after other people.
Even though people have fearful experiences of being taken, and it feels like it's against their will, what it's doing is it's tearing down all the
I bring up something because
mind, consciousness,
I'm not fond of it. I know people say it's a religion and it's all about prayer, but that's a bunch of baloney. I went to a place one time, one of those botanicas, and they do something and I was doing it for a documentary, okay? And when we went in the back, I actually saw them about to cut the head off of a chicken to do
and the kids will help do that.
That's when I came up with the saying of when they start cutting chicken heads off onto the hill.
Integrating with humanity.
Now,
some of the children created from this program.
Stuff like that. Because I get that a lot. People say, oh, witchcraft, they're cutting heads off a chicken and they're using blood. Is this true?
I don't know how to kill an animal. I've been fishing before, and that's not tonight. Yeah, I ate chicken today. I just make something very clear. The actual term for the religious company is a religion called Osha, which is based on the African and mixed with the Catholicism religions that came together in the Caribbean at the end of the slave trade. And I actually have some wonderful, wonderful friends who are priests and priestesses of Osha, and those people do miraculous, wonderful things for others. And just like I'm sure you may have run into some of their bad eggs, I'm sure there are people out there who run into Wiccan bad eggs and say, Osha is a spirituality of the earth, like witchcraft, like Wicca. It's a different pantheon, different
they go against their will.
Set of
and I know you mentioned something about it being
like that. It's actually very strict religion.
Agreed upon. And
I'm sure that there are people that do the animal sacrifices, and I'm sure there are people in Wicca that do animal sacrifice. It's not something that at least I like that Wicca that people don't. It's something that is acceptable to do in circle. Now, my cousin will go to the live culture once a year. We will select the live chicken, and we will pray for it, and they take it in the back, and they butcher it. And then they bring it to us, and we take it home, and we cook it, and we eat it at Halloween or Samhain, the holiday. The reason we do that is most of us eat meat all year round. And so once a year we acknowledge the fact that we do allow other living beings to die in order for us to eat their flesh. And it gives a sense of responsibility to it, and because it's the butcher that's doing it, it's more humane than to say if I would do it, I'd probably hurt the thing so bad because I don't know how it's done. I'd freak out and be like,
forever type thing.
So,
I'm wondering now that
I do not know any witches that use animal blood in their rituals. I've got a feeling that if they did, they'd be run out of town very fast.
When I did my hypnosis,
almost all Wiccans I know are very, very staunch animal rights.
I've always known.
So you
definitely, of course.
I bring up the Santeria thing because
I
brought up the Santeria and the witchcraft, and I have to say I've never been part of an exorcism that was directly linked to witchcraft, but I have been part of, I would say, 20 to 25, probably close to 25 exorcisms that was directly linked to Santeria. I've actually been trying to find somebody to come on the show and debate me on Santeria because they'd be hard-pressed to get me to believe that there's much good in it. I mean, I'm sure there's good in everything. There's good in everything, obviously. There's good people, there's bad people. But from my experience, they do 25 exorcisms that was linked to Santeria. That's pretty bad.
For those that have maybe...
Well, I can't really answer to, whether those people were actually part of Santeria or Ocha, or they could be members that could even been to Ocha houses for behaving that way. That happens a lot if they start misusing
regular visits, like
when they're going to come type thing. Priestess will say, I'm sorry, you're not going to work with us anymore.
I was very aware of
they may have the tools to using it. I don't think that is a high number, but I don't think that without knowing who these people were, what their associations were with the Ocha houses, to say that it's really the responsibility of the religion. It could be that we met 25 individuals who knew a few things about the craft of Ocha and were using it negatively. But it's all like I said, I've met many practitioners of Osha that I have so much profound respect for, and they do a lot of work for healing and also healing right. And I know one Osha priest who did, had a big tambor and then raised about
that was a long night. I was definitely gone somewhere
and donated. So it's I am not someone who is critical of the religion itself because I've only had good experience with the practitioners. But I also know that there are members of Wiccan groups that have been using their witchcraft negatively and have defected. And I would certainly hope I wouldn't be associated with those people either, should they be causing problems for others.
Okay. So where do magic spells come from?
Good question. That is a good question. I'd say it's a combination of...
Could you tell people where they can find your artwork, or is that for sale, or is it out there for anyone to look at?
Connected with the energetic forces that are around
them. I do all
those forces artwork.
My website is Bridget
their lives and the lives of others.
It's just my
name. We have the power to change the world that is around us. And
and
cultivate the tools to do so.
I pretty much just do energetic art, so whatever that means in the form of
go into reality. There is quite a bit of something that's taking place only in our minds. I'd also say that something that's taking place only in the ocean. There's so much of the human mind in it, the human spiritual abilities that we don't know anything about. But the best formula that I can give is it is a combination of your intent with your ability to connect the energies that exist around you and to get them to change things to make your life better and other people's lives better.
What kind? Do you do any kind of meditation work? Because I know Karis does a lot of Reiki.
A grimoire. I have what I call a book of shadows. I also have what I call a disc of shadows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so I keep my notes in a black book that I try to write into every time I do a spell, and then I also have a giant book of spells that I keep on my little Mac. My little laptop has become my grimoire. Yeah.
Okay.
But I definitely...
Do you ever get given spells by spirit where spirit actually came to you maybe through automatic writing or through a dream and taught you spells? I actually have... I don't know stuff. How many do I have? About maybe 15 spells given to me by spirit. Have you ever had spirit actually give you a spell?
Yes. Yes, I certainly have. In fact, that's one of the ways that... many of my spells come to me. I actually had a reading on someone a couple of weeks ago who had a question about something at her job, and I sat down with spirit. This time I also used some tarot to kind of help guide. And
like fire breathing, or what
the spirit told me exactly what she needed to do, which involved some candles and some mud and some specific words that she had to say. But I do receive quite a few of my spells from spirit.
You get distracted sometimes, and you get out of the habit of doing it, or I do at least.
I'm sorry, say it again?
I haven't done it for a while, but I do it, at work or anything like that. When
where can they get their spells?
Stupid happens. It helps, that's for sure, because mostly...
I'm sorry. The line was fuzzy there for a little bit, so I took my headset out.
Basically, for lack of a better word, a nice scientific term,
Yeah. Well, I think that spells can get you in trouble when you're asking for something that you don't really need.
And I can't stand.
And if you're doing something out of revenge or jealousy, or if you're trying to help, where your help is not really needed or wanted, even that's when a really good intention can go bad. The best use of spell magic is to create balance and remove obstacles that you have in your life. But say if you were doing okay financially and you decide to do a money spell, you're going to throw your life out of whack. Because your bills are already paid, you got a little left over where you can go out and get a beer and like pizza once in a while. But then you're like, no, I really want more money. Well, suddenly you are going to get yourself in trouble because the money energy is going to overflow into areas of your life you don't want it. So maybe somebody's bank account is going to spill into yours and you're going to have a big mess or even legal problems with it that way. Or you're going to get so many hours at your job that you can't enjoy the money you've got, or worst case scenario, somebody passes away and leaves you an inheritance. That's not necessarily how you want to get your money.
Live and die by.
So that's where people do get in trouble when they ask for things they don't need. And I know I've gotten myself into some bad situations for love spells, for asking for relationships that I didn't really need. And when they came to me, it turns out that it was what I thought I wanted until it showed up, and then it was a real mess trying to get rid of the relationship, because when magic's involved, it's really hard to get a person out of your life.
Before we throw this switch, I hope it doesn't...
No, because that's
we're going to have to take a break now. We're resuming this interview
but even the theorem was tested until the rationale or the fraction of error is so minute.
We're speaking with Courtney Weber, and
it's about reducing the probability of being
I'm looking forward to hour number 2.
We'll be back in about 5 minutes, folks.
Captain Science.
I'm not trying to be Captain Science. I'm asking you, do you believe everything in this field requires some leap of faith? That's all I'm asking. I'm not accusing.
Everything requires a leap of faith. Everything.
Yeah, are you talking about the UFO field, or which field?
Yeah, whether it be ufology or just
physical. Gotcha.
Yeah, life in general, as far as I'm concerned, requires a leap of faith, first of all. Second of all, in the Manhattan Project...
My father always told me to be careful of what I wish for, because I just might get it.
So,
well, that must be true, Chris, because everyone kept asking us to do a 2-hour show, and now they got their wish.
You answer it, and now you've got it. Let the insanity begin.
The phone lines will be open for the second half of our show.
So bring it hard and bring it real, people. This is Second Sight NYC. Hour number 2.
My biggest problem with a great deal of this, whether we're talking about ufology
Welcome
or
back, everyone.
even
this is Second Sight and
ghosts, or whatever we're doing today, I do not take leaps of faith. I don't. Not for anything.
You don't have it.
Okay, so you're also listening to UPRN 107.9
I think it's interesting that there's different, like being in this field, in different arenas,
we'll be reviewing that interview
stuff. I think it'd be an interesting thing to add into science, the different perceivable ways of measurement, because I mean, so much, it's so physicalized, what you see or feel or can touch or measure in the human realm, but there's a lot of sensitivities, like say clairvoyance or clairaudience, or like all those different intuitive things that you could begin to measure if you say, line up a few people to say people that were sensitive in that way.
Okay, so let's just talk about
you could have
we want to get on there.
Maybe 5 million go into this certain house
coast to coast,
and
what we need is our listeners to send a note to Coast to Coast and say you'd like to hear us on that show.
I think
you're going to do Coast to Coast and go where you can contact them and say, Stephanie and Chris, on Coast to Coast, you can say what we do, the radio show, the paranormal, the exorcism, the healing, all that stuff. How could get on Coast to Coast?
Yeah, if they get enough requests, then they'll contact us.
Because I quickly will jump back into, like I said, it's a good place to start. It's just when we tie ourselves to that anchor, to hell with everything.
So we would like to get on Coast to Coast. We need you guys to
when
do
it
that
starts
for us.
hindering
We can't do it ourselves.
at that point, when it stops hindering the forwarding of any kind of investigation with it, so you can't step outside the box, so to speak. That's what I don't like about the science aspect, because there's plenty of people with scientific backgrounds that have actually done work that's helped out, So it's not all, piss on science fest. It's just piss on asshole science.
Okay, well,
oh my God.
I want people to go to my fan page, Psychic Medium Christopher George
and of
on
course,
Facebook,
I'm the judge,
and
jury, and
like the fan page, and you get to see, what I write every day. I put up a lot of very inspirational type things, and
it's good that you mentioned that
like little raffle to give them a free reading.
Well, because a lot of
last week we had Enzo, and he got the free reading.
I also received feedback, by the way, from Enzo, and I'll be reading that later on.
They've come to terms
well, tonight we have Vanessa, and she's who I picked for the free reading.
A lot of people do are either empathic or intuitive or
about coming on the show.
Again, whatever they'd like to classify themselves.
I think we have on the line right now. Vanessa, you with us?
And those abilities.
Yes, I am. Hi.
What's going on,
Vanessa?
Hi.
Tell us how this came about with
Joe Montaldo's done with iCard.
Well, I follow you guys all the time, and I listen to your show all the time. And I went to your fan page, and I liked it. And then you contacted me for a free reading.
Being empathic and being in contact.
All right, so I can tell you anything, right?
The roof, along with blood types.
You sure? You know how I do my reading, correct?
Yes,
it's good that you're putting that out there, and I'd really like to know how many psychics out there
3
actually haven't told that side of the story
3
for them.
And I think that's an interesting
3.
Okay. Did you just recently have a third kid? I would say within the last 3 to 4 months.
4 months ago.
Okay, 4 months ago.
Like that. And I come out.
Listen to me. Listen good. Within the next 15 months, you will be pregnant again with a 4th child. Okay.
Are you kidding me?
What?
No.
No.
This is the kidding part. This is the actual reading part. I see within the next 15 months you being pregnant again. You are married, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but tell your husband he needs to, put a few extra hours in because you're going to need the extra money out. I definitely see a 4th child, and I do believe it's going to be a girl, by the way. What do you have? You have 2 boys, maybe?
It's interesting that they don't make that connection.
2 girls, 1 boy.
It isn't.
Okay, well, you
connected yet, the UFO world. I think
I'm not 100%. I'm not God,
You're not?
I tried, but I'm not.
What?
Okay.
Awesome.
I definitely see 4 child coming to you, and I think it's going to happen within the next 15 months. You will be pregnant within the next 15 months. What's the whole dancing thing with you? You used to be a dancer?
I think there is a definite connection. Because
yes, I was.
If you
well, I just want to make sure I'm reading you properly.
That means if you are
that whole dancing that got her in trouble.
Yeah. Is that how you want to do?
Conscious or unexperienced.
And yes,
so you would.
I gave him a lap dance in a gentleman's club.
To remember that more than a.
I love this.
Non-aware.
Reading like this all the time. I don't even know why I'm getting it wrong. Let me get back to
think that
okay.
Especially it's kind of like the
I
Star
like
Trek
to joke
fan
around every
versus
now and then.
the Star Wars fan. In essence,
somebody just recently
the paranormal world versus the ufology world.
Yeah.
Each one of them are going to look at each other like they're crazy and you're nuts and that can't be happening. And it's like, you're both in the same boat.
Exactly. You're talking to ghosts. You're talking to UFOs.
I feel like he's been all around you guys.
Why hate on each other? You're killing, each other.
He used to live?
In each other's work here for no reason, just because in a lot of people, and a lot of researchers out there, and a lot of the speaking tours, and that's what it is. It's a tour. They go on. I just had something the other day on Facebook.
Did you feel some negative energy around it?
I've subscribed to.
I really feel you guys need to do a little bit of space clearing in your home.
It comes up on my feed about
a little bit about space clearing on the show tonight. So hopefully
your latest greatest rock star from TV that looks at ghosts and hangs out in front of a blue or a green camera all day is going to be talking, and you can come see them for the low price of $250. And it's like,
what do you want to know?
You're really out there to help people, aren't you? And of course, being on TV, you're going to get the mindless masses that say, "Oh, I love everything you do," and
besides being a mom,
started into paranormal research or getting into those kind of things. You sit and you watch the shows and you think, "Oh, that's a pretty good place to start," because where else are you going to get it? It's much easier than reading a book or going to the library, right? God forbid. And why listen to people like Lloyd Arbach or go to the Ryan Research Center or anything like that here in Durham?
Is there somebody else in your family that's done right now very heavy set?
Basically.
Okay.
I actually have a question for Bridget that came out of our chat room.
Yeah, my sister-in-law.
If that's okay. Bridget, Death Wish would like to know, where's the majority of your research been done, and who do you admire in the field and look to for mentorship?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? My phone went a little crazy.
Person that I look to for mentorship.
Let's do that negative energy in the house.
She's like the top researcher in abduction, hypnosis. She's written countless books, and she's really on it from a scientific, proven perspective that really also values the consciousness behind the experiences.
I don't know how close you are with her, or if you go about telling her something like that. I mean, that's something that's really not easy to tell somebody.
I really like this issue.
I'm not getting a good feeling from her. Does that make sense to you? Is she like obesely overweight?
She's a channel entity.
And more so since the pregnancy.
And she really takes care of
just a matter of overindulgence.
I really like the information that he gives.
Well, I mean, that's the best I can say there. Somebody would have to have a talking with her and try and get her on the right track.
From the hyperstation program,
unfortunately, because we have to get back to our guests, but I hope I was able to help you out there, hope I gave you some good information.
And so he comes
and Vanessa, if you could write us some feedback, we'd appreciate it.
He's coming from the perspective of our future to help us now.
And keep going to the fan page.
So those are
I definitely will.
To my two.
Thanks, guys. This was an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
I think they're covered
it for a reading each week.
Yeah.
And I really like their work.
We always get lost in our guests and whatnot. All right, so before we resume our interview with Courtney Weber...
Do you remember as a child when everything started, you start getting abducted by
you're getting all worked up
the same...
in the first hour and...
I know, all right.
So, Church of Second Sight. It's our little segment where we just kind of air our grievances if we have any, or we pick a topic that's on our mind, and we discuss it. And this week, it's people who don't mind their friggin' business.
Yeah, and I got one person in mind. I'm not going to even say his full name. His first name is David. I'm not going to give him any power over us. This guy, every week, we're very proud of our show. I believe that we have a top-notch show, one of the best out there. And you know what? If that's me being conceited, no, I'm convinced. I know we have a really good show. Okay? And the proof is that every week our listeners go up and up and up. And we post it because we're proud of it. And we post it on Facebook and say, we've had this many listeners tonight. You know what? That's not bragging. That's us letting people know, you know what? If you're listening to something else on Thursday night, maybe you should give us a listen because there's a reason why we have so many listeners.
Let me just say, as someone out of kid, I definitely had. I was thinking of stars and cried. My eyes were so overwhelmed with so much love coming from stars. And I had no programming to do that from my parents. I just wouldn't sit there and do that myself. That's
breakdown of community people. We claim, they're claiming we have...
I was like, what kind of abducting her? I'm like, Zeta Reticuli. And she's like, what the heck is that? I was like, come on.
But it's not a claim. It's fact. And numbers don't lie. So,
anyway, this comes on our page and says, how dare you make a claim like that? I've had a show for 2 years and I have 300,000 listeners. Well, you know what? We've been on here for 10 months and we have 300,000 listeners, so we're better than you. That's number one. Number two, I wasn't so pissed off at that. I actually went to Blog Talk Radio, the minor leagues of radio, might I add, and listened to your pathetic 1-hour show, and that's when I really got pissed. The show sucked, okay? But for you to say that our show wasn't on par with yours, you know what, buddy? I hope you're listening tonight, and if you're not, listen to the archive, because see what a real friggin' show is supposed to sound like. Not that monotone blast that you put out there as a friggin' show trying to compete with us. Please, this is the major leagues, buddy. You're Bush League, minor league, and you can't compete. All right? So how do you like me now?
Very diplomatic, I have to say.
Because that
what I would like to say is that any given show or the top shows,
I mean, even in my hypnosis,
I do like to do my
it's a dream world. I mean, they're not fully physical. They're
maybe at most the top tier would be 10,000 people.
So we got that from the owner.
And everything's a little bit hazy and foggy.
It's
so many people have dreams about them. They go, I guess that was a dream when really they're just
the Middle Pseudo Salute Award goes to this
those specific ones.
Yeah, David with his pathetic little
for my dad, there were.
What he does in his interview, Tom Wolf, and that's really exciting. In
my later years, when I was more so having eggs taken, I definitely was having interactions with reptilians that were very positive.
It's good that you brought up the reptilian there, because we had a question in the room asking if you'd had any contact with any other species out there other than the gray, classic gray.
You feeling better now?
Yeah,
he was read there for a moment.
When I first was
we're going to get back to our guest
and overcoming any fears that I had with this in the beginning.
If she stuck around to listen to you. What are you there?
Just like
I'm not behind the second site, sits on a bottle of whiskey like good church defects.
And I definitely had interactions with
I'm always comparing Courtney, you hear the and movie line that brings back to earth, and I'm looking at him as he's doing this, and I'm feeling it. You have to see what comes over me. It affects me more than the people listening, because I'm looking at him, and it's painful, Chris. You really internalize this stuff. I can laugh at it.
Don't call me out. You can call me out if you want.
Or actually a parallel reality. So you're having a simultaneous incarnation as them. So it's actually you abducting yourself. Usually kind of the arrangement. So that's an interesting perspective that observers can vary. But the majority of the time it's you abducting yourself.
When we left off, we were talking about this crash and
there's so much to ask you. When you mentioned luminous on the mantis species, what did you mean by that? We had a couple people in the chat room.
Say it one more time. I think there's a little bit of a muffled line there. Can I get the question one more time?
How does karma factor into spellcraft?
Well, a lot of witches believe in the threefold law, and that what you put out in the universe will come back to you 3 times. I think it comes back more like 3,000 times, so it's not limited to just 3. I do think that like attracts like, and what you contribute to the universe, you will ultimately receive again. The only caution with that is when people start becoming so boisterous about giving away, they give everything that they have faster than they're able to replenish it, and then the universe doesn't always have time to catch up.
Your grandmother,
so I think that people that put out a lot of negative, baneful magic tend to have a lot of negative, baneful things that hurt them. And I do think that when people are trying to, behave in healthy, productive ways with their magic, they have healthy, productive things coming. I mean, there are no absolutes. You are going to periodically get this stray blast of negativity that perhaps you didn't have anything to do with getting out there. You just happen to be in the way. And sometimes we do see people that are getting a lot of gold, like wonderful gifts when they've been putting out nothing but nasty stuff all over the place. But I do think in the long run, we get back a lot of what we put out there.
It's getting to the point where I think
the reality is not as now, there are a lot of people that say that spells are bogus, they're not real, it's, it's made up garbage and whatnot. Do spells really work? I mean, what do you say to people that say that spells don't work?
So I think that's one of the reasons.
I'd say they either haven't tried it or not paying attention. What I normally say is spells always work, and that's the problem. Because the spell will work, but sometimes things come to you in the package that you asked for, but not necessarily the package that you wanted.
I mean,
so sometimes sometimes it works out really, really well, but sometimes it doesn't. My favorite was the story I was mentioning this before the break, is that several years ago, I did a spell that I really wanted a man to come into my life that had a specific list of qualifications, and I said I wanted him to be really nice. I said I wanted him to be between the ages of 25 and 35, and I wanted him to be creative and funny and great in bed, and that he wants a relationship. And I listed all these things. He lives in New York. Listed all these things, and I got every single one of them. But I forgot to ask for honesty. And when I said I wanted him to want a relationship, I need to specify that he wanted that relationship with me. Because he came with every single one of those qualities. But if he already had a girlfriend in a relationship he was perfectly happy with, then he just also didn't tell me because he didn't ask for an honesty. So I learned very, very well. The next time I asked for, I actually didn't do a spell for the person that I'm currently with. I simply just opened my heart to the universe and said I'm ready to meet my mate. Go ahead and send him along. And I met my boyfriend Brian about 2.5 years ago. But before that, I had a whole lot of failed love spell because I was getting what I asked for, but it wasn't what I wanted because I wasn't really paying attention to first of all, what I really did want, and also wasn't paying attention to what I was asking for.
The thing that they will see is a reflection of that in the dream. So I asked
say 10 people doing spells, the same exact spell. It works for 5 and it fails for 5. Why would that be?
It might be the level of their focus and intention. And sometimes I think people just don't pay attention to when spells are actually working.
So that's good.
I know a girl who did a spell and she was like, bring money to the house, is what she kept saying. And what she meant was, I want our family finances to improve. Instead what happened was all the keys kept falling out of people's pockets when they come into her house. So she was getting money in her house, but it wasn't coming in the package that she ultimately wanted. Now, she noticed she had quite a long history with witchcraft, so she picked that up. But,
and I go into these towns,
she wasn't really, wasn't ultimately asking for what she wanted, so the spell didn't quite work as she planned.
All that good stuff.
I know another woman who was asking for, I'm trying to remember exactly what she asked for. She said she wanted love and a man.
And it's like,
later she complained that her spell didn't work, and I said, no, your spell did work.
Well,
you found love in another country, and you ended up with a roommate whom you couldn't stand. So you had 2 men that actually came in. The man was the guy living with you, and then the love was someone who was far away. What you might have wanted to ask for was a man who would be your loving domestic partner. She's like, oh, you're right. So her spell did work, but she didn't actually take a look at what had happened. And she cast the spell and see how it had actually,
a crop or a mineral. And, there's a lot of people out there that their main concern is putting food on the table and the head, and, they have like real life problems going on, and they don't have time to elevate their consciousness.
Well, the bad spell, of course, that ex-boyfriend of mine, that was pretty bad spell, I have to say, but
for themselves.
I've done some money spells when I really didn't need them, and I ended up having to work ridiculous amounts of hours, and so I had extra money, but it wasn't what I really wanted, and also about the same time I had I was supposed to go to Hungary with my cousin, and my tour got canceled, which meant that I had a $1,000 refund. So suddenly I had all this money, but I wasn't getting to do with it what I wanted, because suddenly I had no time to go out, and I couldn't go on the trip. So those are times the spells went bad, and I've known, I got my spirit guides woke me up, this was probably about a year and a half ago, in the middle of the night, they woke me up and told me to check my phone, because I turned it off, and there was a young man from my community whose altar had spontaneously combusted into flames, because he wanted to know, I think he was trying to harness the power of fire, and he dozed off while a candle was burning and woke up and half his room was on fire. So I'd say that was an example of a spell that went very, very badly.
Without a doubt.
The classic is to grab their gun and just start shooting at it, because
a lot of people
that seems to be our response, especially in the cryptozoology world. As humans, hey, there's something
it's incorrect because Satan, this may sound strange, but Satan is a Christian God.
I really think that comes across as
I wouldn't say worship, but certainly revere. Well, not all Christians even, but traditionally the Christian pantheon has assigned Satan
in order to be
a god of evil and darkness and things that
enlightened in any way, or reach any kind of superior lifestyle,
that
you have to buy into
a specific god like that actually exists.
I mean, there are many
we do believe that there are
dealing with their own existential
negative spirits, and I think that there's a lot of different
don't have time for the
classifications for what those spirits are. I personally believe that a lot of times pain, negative emotion, anger that gets released into our world will ultimately manifest into semi-conscious, if not fully conscious beings that run around and cause problems, which is why you recommend to Vanessa cleansing your house with such a big issue that the leftover remnants of the drug addiction can manifest into some of the things that cause paranormal problems, and so the negative stuff needs to go. But we don't. We also recognize that the gods aren't always in great moods. Gods ultimately do what's best for us, but sometimes they can be really hard on us, and sometimes they can appear very scary because they are beings that, like us, have different moods and they have dark sides. But witches do not have a god being that is assigned for all that is evil, and most of them really don't. Even if there was, I think most of them try to avoid that. On the other hand, we got better things to do. And going, blow up my reality and what I know my life to be. Oh gosh, so we are such a mismatch. One of the wonderful things about the religion is that, like no other religion that I've ever seen brings together people from different, so there are no different economic or ethnic or sexual orientation backgrounds, and especially in circles in New York City. One thing that we do have in common is this belief in this religion that many people regard as being very strange and that's very evil. So when we find those connections to each other, it's a very powerful kinship. But here's what's on my coven. We have people that have been unemployed for a while. We have students. We have people that work in the publishing industry. We have people that work in medicine. We have high-level government officials. I myself am a secretary at a university.
Coming in the chat room, and I wanted to get John's question because he's a very
big
before we
and I think you would find
I know me and Chip have more to say about this, and definitely want to hear your
corner of our society.
But I do want to get to John's question.
I think when we all come together, we all kind of act like
John asked,
but we're kind of trying to get it was sad. We had a funeral for one friend of mine who was a witch. She died several years ago, and we all laughed because we were used to seeing each other in tie-dye or summery gauzy clothing, and here we all were in our corporate suits because we wore work clothes and funerals. Like, oh, okay, we're seeing each other's real world now, huh?
But
I mean, I have
do you have any suggestions for how you kind of heal over that?
We certainly. I certainly do not relegate to just some kind of secret economy that no one knows about.
If you want to believe, then do it.
I want to know some things people who practice
why you can't.
Okay.
I know you know a bunch.
If you end up looking crazy and down the road it ends up, quote, not to be true, then you can be like,
curious to know about what
down that
No, I want to know some stars, some famous people.
Go down that path. You'll create.
I think we even mentioned something before. I'm pretty sure Johnny Depp is a Wiccan. Nicolas Cage, there are rumors that he was pagan, but he did a really bad rendition of The Wicker Man. So it's questionable because no self-respecting Wiccan would actually do such a terrible remake of that classic film. Somebody just asked, is Stevie Nicks Wiccan? Yes, I think she is. Maybe that's one of the reasons they call her the White Witch, is because she wears all those gauzy white clothing things. So yeah, I think that she does.
Here it is, the introduction of a leap of faith, for...
Yeah.
I know that there was some
one of the avenues,
congressman or congresswoman who was...
Don't be afraid of being wrong, and it's not really ever
Christine O'Donnell.
being wrong per se.
Oh yeah, that was... That was very ridiculous. The thing she said that she had a picnic on a satanic altar. I have no idea what kind of person she was hanging out with that would call themselves a Wiccan for doing that, because I don't know any Wiccans who would even acknowledge a satanic altar, let alone have one. I think she was also very young, maybe a teenager, and was playing around with some people who were probably calling themselves Wiccans or witches without really having a lot of information about what the religion actually was. It was actually pretty foolish of her. She didn't realize it, but she was from Delaware, and Delaware has one of the largest populations of witches on the East Coast. And so and it's such a small state. Not that they necessarily were going to vote for her anyway, but she cut out a huge portion of her demographic, and she said, "I'm not a witch, I'm you. I don't worship Satan. I don't do that anymore. I dabble. I never joined a coven." It was like, what coven would have accepted someone with such an ignorant view of our religion? I have no idea. Yeah, more of us are starting to come out in public service, more on the local government levels. I don't know if any candidates that are on any of the major political tickets. I think that's going to change as the religion starts to gain more and more acceptance. We will see more. But the people I know that hold government posts tend to be
you guys have a
community, community boards, community organizers, stuff like that. People that are on a very local, intimate level of government.
London as well. And it's for the higher for people to come and hear more about it. Talk about
we're lucky today because there are so many avenues for learning the craft. There's a whole lot of books out there. I always recommend by my teachers that are Janet Fair and Gavin Bone, anything that they can pick up from them can also use the history of witchcraft as well as contemporary ways of practice. Their books and stuff of witchcraft, I think, is probably the best book that I found to come out on about the religion as a whole over the last 5 years or so. So I strongly recommend people go and check that one out. There's a website called witchbox.com. And that has lists all over the world of different groups in open circles. People can go check things out. I think a lot of meetup groups, you can find, witchcraft places where people can go to study groups. I'd say if somebody really wants to meet other witches, to go out there, to go to some open circles, definitely go to ones that are in a public place, or if there's one that someone's, don't go to a stranger's home no matter who they are, without a friend. So, if you notice a circle happening in a private home, it's probably some very nice people, but bring someone with you who's don't go into somebody's home unless you know them, right? And certainly, there are lots of public circles that happen in parks and things where you can go and get to know some people, and taking witchcraft classes, many are pretty reasonably priced. Most, a lot of teachers do have to charge a modest sum, which may seem, it tends to resonate funny with people sometimes, but it's like, we got to pay our clergy, some have churches or anything that's so, and then just like Google, you can Google local Wiccan circles, and then your hometown.
We've got about a minute left here. You want to go
ahead
and tell everybody before we break that is,
the first place to go.
Tell everybody about
some books on the craft. Definitely read some lessons with craft,
videos and stuff on YouTube and everything.
And good luck with it. It's a beautiful journey, and if the first group you go to doesn't quite seem to fit your spiritual needs, just keep looking. They're certainly out there. I was lucky. My first 2 circles kind of fell right in my lap, and they were the best ones I could have. So.
And then my website is original.com. Spelling on your website.
So again?
And I have a family as well. Join the community. Join
yes,
the
it's called Witchbox. It's W-I-T as in Tom, C-H-B-O-X.com. Here, I'm going to put it in the...
Definitely, and definitely get out there on Facebook and hit some likes on the Hybrid Children Facebook page that they have out there, and you'll see what they got going on a little more consistently.
Yes, sir.
What we put out on our Facebook page, actually, I don't do a good job of keeping up on it. Nicole posts some funny pictures every once in a while.
I think that there is a certain level of truth happening in any religion to become a priest or priestess, but
I'm not even.
There's also the notion of something that in witches we call self-dedication, where if someone hasn't found a teacher or hasn't found,
and she will,
a tradition or something that really speaks to that they can self-dedicate to
break us out of here. Hopefully
to the gods and goddesses themselves. And we really do believe that only the gods can make someone a priest or a priestess, but I do strongly believe that when working with people, as couples can learn from others so that you do know how to be a minister to other people within your community. And that often happens through either independent study with a one-on-one teacher, or there are online mystery schools so that he can't find something in their local area. And then, of course, plethora of heavens and roads. There's definitely in major cities, but we're finding more and more all over the place. Because you can't find a local grow or someone who can teach you personally. There are ways you can find teachers long distance who are willing to train you and work with you.
That one. So, all right. So we're going to get some old music. I didn't pick instead of the cool stuff. But of course, Nicole didn't get to pick any songs. This is her pick song.
But think about handbooks.
Absolutely. They're so supportive.
Oh, it's
books on witchcraft.
Scott Cunningham's.
Oh, Scott Cunningham's. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is it's a little bit of it's the line's still a little fuzzy. Scott Cunningham's books are really good when people are first starting out. He has a very accessible view of the craft, and he also teaches some very good and accessible spells. I think that when people are more interested in the history of the gods and goddesses and of the different traditions, they want to continue to do more research, and also if you want to, I guess, more a little more complicated energy work or ritual work, and they want to train someone to have more experience or start looking at a little more complicated books. But I actually think Scott Cunningham gave us a lot of excellent tools for the craft. I think he was really instrumental to me in understanding the concept of God and the goddess, because I knew that this position was for me, but funny as it sounds to my priestess here now, it was hard for me to embrace the concept of goddess when I'd grown up with just knowing God as masculine. And he said in one of his books that as all living things on the planet have both masculine and feminine energies within them, so does the divine. The divine, just like ourselves, even me as a biological woman, I carry testosterone in my system, but that's like the masculine part of me. So why would being different? Why would they only be one specific gender when nothing else on the planet is a
There's a holiday coming up for the spring equinox. Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. The name, the written name for the holiday is Ostara, and it happens around March 21st, and it's the first day of spring. And the beauty about the equinox is both the spring and the fall equinox. Those are two times of the year when the light is perfectly in balance. It's a really good time to get your life in balance and start to encourage things to grow in your life. Flowers are starting to come back, although this has been the most unseasonably warm winter I can imagine in New York. It was like 60 degrees today. But, I don't know. I used some snow. I did not get my snow fixed this year. But, during the cycles of the season, as the land is starting to grow again, so it's time to start growing the things that you want to see prosper, whether it's new things in your relationship, or new endeavors in your job, or an expansion in your home, or moving into a bigger apartment, or something like that. This is the time to start expanding. This is the time to start planting things that you want to see continue to develop and mature over the summer months, so that come fall, when we reach the autumn equinox, the light is again balanced, we start to harvest things that we want to grow. So I really encourage people to think about, where do you want to be 6 months from now? And use this time in springtime if you didn't mention those things to come true.
So what kind of stuff might a regular person want to do during the spring equinox?
I love to sell the planting seeds, and you just go down to your, go down to the garden store. Actually, there's a plant flower store down here where I work on American. And, look out for flower on seeds that you really happen to like and that would be easy enough to grow. It's tough for me to grow things in my apartment because it's so a little natural light. But as you're planting these seeds, start focusing on the intentions that you have for your life. What do you want to grow? And really envision the energy of those things becoming infused with those, into those seeds. And then as those seeds start to grow, what those things that you manifest in your life grow as well.
It's more like psychic extra large. Yeah, real funny, but then again, being my girlfriend, you would know. Together, we have second place NYC.
I would avoid trying to
join us each week as we journey into the unknown.
I would try to do any kind of like major research or harvesting things. We want things to start to grow, but now would not be the time to they do a spell that's going to bring you a lot of income now. You don't do a spell that would slowly increase your income over the next few months. Unless you're in your absolute dire straits of money, it's like I've got to, I'm going to need $500 to pay my light bill over the next 2 weeks, so I need to do a quick money spell. This would be a better time of the things you want to see grow in the next few months as opposed to things you need right now. If you need something like, I got to harvest more things from, my effort, then I would say do it in September when we are starting to harvest and taking in the food from the field.
Light up your night with the Kevin Smith Show. Hi, this is Kevin Smith. Join me Monday through Friday right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
On Facebook or what your preferences are?
Yes, I am on Facebook, and my name's Courtney Weber. You can find me. I'm also on the second site page, so if people are looking for me there, it's where I'm on Facebook far more than I care to mention. I do have a series of classes coming up this spring in Rutland, New Jersey, about the first weekend of every month, and it's at Off the Beaten Path, and their website is ancientcircles.com. And I've actually been teaching there this Saturday class called Ethical Spellcraft, where you can learn more about using for spells in ways that are ethical and wholesome and that can certainly improve your life. And I'm also teaching some tarot classes there later in the spring. On Saturday, May 5th, we're teaching at a festival up at Grace Closet in Cornwall, New York, which is a wonderful all-day event. It's very inexpensive to go, and of course with cause, and there's a lot of dancing and performances and concerts. Lots of different classes are available on spellcraft and different forms of witchcraft. And you can also find, you can always find me on my website, which is thecocowitch.com. That's TheCocowitch.com, and that's where you can reach me for tarot readings, other upcoming events, as well as my blog. I have a tarot deck, which is images of New York City. It's called Tarot of the Boroughs, and you can find that at tarotoftheboroughs.com. And I think that's about it.
Well, Courtney, you did a great job tonight. I got to tell you, it was a great interview.
Thank you very much. All right, you guys take care and continue on all your good work. And so other people get to you. That's a way that you're very powerful. Very, very powerful energy.
They get to do far more than they get to do, believe me. All right, thank you, Courtney, and we'll continue.
All right, take care, both of you.
Bye-bye. Okay. We have rapid readings tonight, and I don't believe we've done these for several weeks.
What about 3 weeks?
So let's talk about your selection criteria. How did you come about?
What I did was, when we sent out the invite on Facebook, people that accepted the invite, I said, you know what, I'm going to pick a bunch of them and give them rapid readings. So if they are actually listening tonight, like they said that they want, they'll hear their round.
Yes, you should.
All right. Jody Cabot. This will be a magical week for you, literally. Things will manifest all around you. To Solo Wolf. I thought that was an interesting name. You make no excuse for beating to your own drum, and you shouldn't. A friend who recently passed is trying to contact you. To enter Slovak, you need to be very flexible with the twists and turns of your life. Will take you, You need to be very flexible with the twists and turns your life will take you the next few days. To trust space, you have a fierce energy about you, and it's about to be awakened in your life, so be prepared to direct that energy constructively. To Guile Rivers, healing through music is your life path. To Margaret Carew, who we know her personally. She goes by Merck. You're going through a tough time, and you need to keep your head up and trust that it will pass. There's a creative seed inside of you that's begging to be expressed in some way. So Michael Drum, use the outdoors to relax your mind by either fishing or camping. I also feel the presence of a child around you. Aston, or something close to that. I'm getting the name
Kid
Aston.
Cudi that you didn't even hear of until 6 months ago.
Shut up, I knew about it back in the day, son. I'm from
back in the day, huh?
He thinks he's a Martian.
Yeah, he does.
I'm going to the manager, and he thinks he's a Martian. Synchronistically, my brother is a huge fan of them. I'm like, you know that you just want to go hang out with the aliens?
That's awesome. I know he's got a couple songs that talk about that stuff, and he's always like, I know he was seeing a psychiatrist for a while, taking the pills and all that, and then he got off the pills and back on the weed, so...
And I always love, especially when you get the live readings on the air to receive feedback from people. And I'll read it. So this is from Enzo, and this is the reading you gave on air last week.
Full summer.
Do not talk about things you do not know about.
Firstly, I must say I was so surprised with the accuracy of the reading.
This is coming from the man who would not let me play anything remotely resembling hip-hop for the first 5 years of our relationship.
I've been a lifelong skeptic, and as I mentioned on your show, I look
we've been married for coming on 4 years in May.
Nice to see two Italians from New York producing such a good show. Thanks again, Enzo. And he was Enzo. I appreciated the whole Italian factor.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Thanks, Enzo.
Yeah, we've been living together for 7 years.
So, gemstone of the week.
The gemstone of the week is fluorite, okay? And it comes from the Latin word fluor, which means flow. It's known as the most colorful mineral in the world, and legend has it that if you drink alcohol from fluorite mug, it can prevent drunkenness. So, being in the chat room, I hope you heard that. It emits an energy that discourages chaotic and destructive events. It helps to stabilize the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual system. It helps you to see through the lies. It increases the ability to concentrate, balancing the positive and negative relationships of the mind. It helps to see both reality and truth behind illusion. The energy of fluoride helps to energize all the chakras, and it's excellent in absorbing negativity. It's also known as the genius stone. It helps with concentration and decision making, and it's an aura cleanse that's very effective against computer and electromagnetic emissions, which is that's a big thing these days. And if you make it into an elixir, it's good for cold, flu, staph and strep infections, cancer sores, and herpes. I don't know about the whole herpes thing, but that's what it's good for. And for anger management. How about that?
Yeah, I think we need some fluoride around here.
Why? I'm never angry.
Never, right?
What, you think you lose my mind during the church second time I'm angry?
Yeah, you hear the tone you're taking right now about it?
No, I'm passionate. Don't confuse passion with anger.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about...
Where was I during
I don't sound angry at all.
You were right next to me sleeping, so...
All right.
She is a fart. I'm
Taurus tonight.
I've been playing Scrabble. You've been
listening to me.
I've been listening to you, but you come over real nice and pretty pop, and then we get up the phone and tell me, and I get freaking head off. You're like a pretty man. You make them eat my head off.
I'm not making up that you were taking with us.
Let's move on.
We have
some events coming up. We have our expo in June, which will be airing live on Saturday afternoon, and when dates become, I guess, closer or more available. We're looking for
in my thought process,
I think disregard the nonsense.
This is my whole thing, is that knowing,
we also are looking for events to broadcast live. So if anyone does know of anything that would be of interest, any kind of paranormal conferences,
I don't know so much about my mom.
We will take the show there and go air live, and we'll interview, people.
Your mom
so
was
if
not
anyone out there has any ideas or events that you could suggest, we're definitely open to suggestions, and we would appreciate that.
I think
and
in
we
order
also
to
have
be
an
empathic, if I'm assuming that empathic is a real state
we could just,
at that point.
Yeah, we definitely have an activity going on this weekend, and my consigliere will be there with me and Mark and you, and I'm looking forward to it. I spoke to her today, and she really needs the help. She wants the help, and we're going to give her the help.
And your mother was definitely
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to meeting her.
You must have some gray DNA in you, no notion, man.
We have the event with Jeff Mother coming in April, and that's
and my thing was, okay,
we really do have a lot of things coming up.
Well, we just got something else that came up today, which I'm so excited about. We had Jill Morris on a couple weeks ago, and
I think she's listening.
Wonderful lady, wonderful author, and a fantastic book, and she's the lady who wrote the book 207, and
I would be in line for it.
It was a very,
I'm having those things, then why wouldn't our son be in line for that kind of thing?
The land that the house was on.
To sum it up, my thing is just
I don't think we're going to actually do an exorcism of the land. I think we're going to just do a spiritual ritual to cleanse the land of the negativity. And we actually told her that we would go up and partake in this big event. And
that's pretty much what it was, 2.5 hours from us here.
2.5 hours away, but you know what? That's a big thing, and to be part of cleansing such a piece of land that has such bad karma and bad energy, and
I believe there's a
store there and whatnot,
and that's haunted.
Yeah, everything is haunted over there. It's part of such a big event. It makes me proud to be part of it, and I can't wait to do it.
And I just like to remind everyone, I know I said this earlier, but we want to get on Coast to Coast, and we need you guys to write to them, and their website is coasttocoastam.com, and just suggest, you'd like to see a second site NYC on their show, and we really need a bunch of people to write to them. It's not good enough to do it ourselves. We can't elect ourselves.
Yeah, get us on there. We won't disappoint you guys. We'll bring it, and we'll amp it up.
We'll do the same thing that we do here, we do there. And really, for us, Chris, we act exactly the same on and off air.
I know, but people think that I'm crazy. I'm already
it's
freaking crazy.
You make you look crazy.
You're not even Marty.
I don't think so. That's my whole thing, is that, they know to handle me the whole time, and the thing
that shows
waking up and knowing I'm putting bed, maybe I woke up in the middle of anything they had going on in the other room, and they were like, oh shit, handle this guy, so, there's a lot of weapons in the house, and things like that, so, I don't know, that's just, that could be total bullshit, and just a fucking ego, Yeah, I don't know, so.
But the thing that I would like to address about that, for like these abductees, the contact, is the ego.
By the spirit in which the burden you bear, by the kind of things at which you laugh, by the record you play on your
why would an ego go
show what
around
you are by the way that you walk, by the subject of which you like to talk, by the manner in which you bear defeat, by the food and by the food you choose and the way that you eat, by the books that you select from your library shelf.
I mean, it's
in these ways and others you tell on yourself. So there's not a bit of common sense in trying to keep up.
Means a lot.
I really like that. It's very meaningful. Like I said, it was anonymous.
I've crazy or not normal.
A while, and I chose it for tonight.
So I think that there's a lot of. I think that makes everyone's experience.
We will be back next Thursday. It'll be March 1st, 2012, 8 p.m. Eastern. Our guest is Suzanne Taylor, and we will be discussing crop circles. And I have to say,
he
sent us our documentary,
a bigger issue that a lot of people have with
we were blown away. I really didn't know much about crop circles, but after that, I find it totally amazing.
And it's like, well, if it is,
you know what?
we
came up with about 30 questions for this lady.
First of all, you have to alienate yourself.
I cannot wait to interview. I was blown away by that DVD. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Now you're
I had no idea the depth of
small market to try to sell
your book to. This is going to be riveting radio.
Totally fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it, Taylor.
Okay. So we're here each week.
You're UFO Paranormal Radio, and you've been listening to UPRN 107.9. It's out of New Orleans. You can find us on Facebook, Second Chris, Second Sight. Check out our website, secondsightnyc.com, and
I think our running total now, we're coming up on year 2.
The IRS is listening.
The IRS is listening. Thank you, everyone. And we're coming up on year 2 in January here.
What month?
And we have netted almost 3 figures. Okay.
Net.
The views expressed on the Kevin Smith Show are those of the people that make them.
Okay, we're in the
not
hole.
Necessarily reflecting
Almost 4 figures.
We're still in the red. Still looking to be a viable business here.
Well, we're thinking it's going to work.
Tune in to UFO Undercover Wednesday
hoping in syndication it'll work.
With your host,
maybe if we get more UFO people on,
it'll Paranormal Radio Network.
Another question while we were talking there. Excuse me a second. From John. He actually was wondering if
Trish Sheridan, host of Global Focus. Come join us each Friday evening at Global Focus's new time, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern. Come join the discussion.
Well, I know, I know 6 of them. I have.
Hi, I'm Comedian Chris George, and I'm Sam Cincinnati. What type of comedian? Are you sure about that challenge? It's more like yeah, real funny, Benetti. And again, being my girlfriend, you would know. Second Sight NYC, a parapsychic radio show based out of New York City. Definitely threshold of reality together.
There's something going on with that kid.
Finally, no less than we love to interact with our audience. Each week, you can expect a great guest, interesting topics, and strong opinions by myself and Stephanie. As well as rapid readings, psychic dream interpretations, and your guest of the week. And don't ask us questions that you don't want an answer to. Give us 2 hours of your time to inform, enlighten, and entertain. Let the journey begin. Join us.
And from what I understand,
Light Up Your Night with the Kevin Smith Show.
From your grandma
This is Kevin Smith. Join me Monday through Friday right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
And this could go with your they're putting a little bit of a little bit more like ET DNA each time.
What you were doing from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time on Tuesdays. See, I host this really interesting little radio program that airs live now. And we bring in all sorts of guests, authors, experiencers, and everything in between. It's paranormal and guaranteed to make you go, I guess this is always up at www.gsky.com. And we tune in to the Dawn of Shades from 7 to 9 p.m. on Tuesdays.
And also through Arcturus, which is how much light comes through during incarnation.
Tune in to UFO
so those 2 factors are actually adding more light as generations go on. So these crystal kids, these indigo kids will be on a higher frequency. Our frequency will be on a higher ADHD, etc. And parents are like, what do I do with this kid? He's not active, he has too much energy. And so then these hybrid kids will be a step up from that that will help us prepare to make more.
Now, with the hybridization project, you said that they're in, they've stopped actually the harvesting end of it, of DNA basically, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the time frames are kind of interesting, and this kind of goes into maybe your experience with your son. But Okay, I'll tell my brother's experience. He happens to watch this when he was really crazy. So, I had a dream, an interesting conversation, you know, in and he was really perfectly healthy. He has crazy big eyes, not human. But I had a dream during the dinner on, you know, a baby and I'm putting one back in. And this was before I was really on board with this stuff. And I was like, what is this dream? And so anyways, I talked to Bashar, this channeled entity, and I was saying, hey, is this an actual
say my normal greeting, so let me do my normal greeting. Welcome to the Church of Mavis radio show, everyone. It's pouring like hell right now in Florida, and it just went through New Orleans and Louisiana, and I thought it missed me, but apparently it didn't because it's pouring down like freaking crazy outside. My internet's down. So hopefully my cell phone will withstand. If not, then Guy will have to do it without me. But it so far seems to be doing okay. They say there's some power outages and trees down, but I haven't had any lights blinking or anything. Well, first off, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, the UFO store. Randy Harrigan wants to say some prayers for his mother. She has cancer, and he's been dealing with some of
the project for
that
us, time frame wise, is just because we're seeing it
so everybody say some prayers for Randy Harrigan at the UFO store.
To us seemed
also,
like 50 years,
Shout
for
Factory,
them,
you know,
it's only been maybe 10 or so.
They're going to be sending out some new DVDs of Alien Components soon, and hopefully we'll have some more contests that we'll do that people will actually partake in to win stuff. For some reason, our listeners out there don't get off their ass and do their contests at all for some reason. We're going to try it again.
Maybe it's your contest.
I have two for ideas. I asked you for ideas for contests, and you said post on the forum, so I did that.
I said use it to
set it up,
promote the forum.
That's what I did.
Kids, by the time that they actually come and integrate into Earth,
I had people that said they were going to do it, but they didn't.
Because the goal is for them to be kids,
I know people are busy doing
more
stuff.
readily
No one wants free stuff.
And so that we can all grow up.
You better win this free stuff on eBay.
These kids.
Anyway,
so yeah,
first off, I just wanted to mention our guest for the next 2 months real quick. Well, next week is Dan Martin. We're going to be talking about how to survive the apocalypse, nuclear fallout, or alien invasion. He's like the MacGyver of that type of stuff. So he's going to teach us how to survive the apocalypse.
Okay, so he's the one dishing out the information slowly but surely.
Rambo himself, Dan Martin.
Sorry, but Karis always described it as that she would just get little bits here and there, you know, instead of the whole big picture, of course.
So that'd be interesting. That's about the trickster.
So, is that pretty much how it is?
I hope Eric likes the title.
A quick trip here and there.
Yeah.
Coyote's member meets Beaver Lady. If you've ever read the Coyote folklore stories, then you know what I'm talking about. March 10th, Tom Fusco. And we had him scheduled for a while, and he was just on with
I couldn't have just come up with that. I must have had some experience.
He's been making the rattle his brain. So, March 17th, Max Maloney about UFOs in wartime. March 24th, Norio. Hayatawa.
Yes, Hayatawa. For sure.
Norio the musician is going to be talking about Osei and all that cool
future or anything like that, especially with 2012 when I got a hit on it.
Really looking forward. March 31st, Alan.
Yeah, he talks about that being...
we'll get about...
The ETs have had like a self-inflicted like joint.
It's called the
like, we're not gonna.
Really quick now for April. I'm really excited about April. Nothing but
we're gonna let
the Dog Man and Werewolf
until December 21st.
So
after December 21st, they're like, all right.
I'm having trouble saying his name.
Let's do this. Your energy is good enough, like some of you, for isolated contact to begin and to start.
Research book on Bigfoot, the classic that was recommended to us a long time ago by Joe Peck.
After December 21st,
on the 14th, Leslie Mitch and her husband Robert Miles on their book about the Dog Man.
do what they want.
April 21st, Kathy Moskowitz-Strain, about her book, Giants and Cannibals, and it's about Bigfoot Native American legend tales.
Wait, I have a question about that.
It's about Native American legend tales about Bigfoot banging horses and breaking their necks and throwing people into baskets and eating them,
I've been told,
marrying Native women and all kinds of weird stuff. It's going to be great. And then April 28th, Dave Coleman, about his Bigfoot biography book, which is a Bigfoot movie.
The significance
Every movie about Bigfoot, we're going to be talking about that. And then I'm going to just say one of the May 5th show is when it goes.
Here's about the actual date again, Nicole.
No, I'm just
That's what's
curious.
coming up.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, you're trying to
Every time I ask a question, I get beat down.
Hardcore for the next coming month.
It's a good question.
There you have it. And also check out our new website at thechurchofneighbors.com.
It's a good question.
Hard.
I mean, it's really,
you have Guy's blog there, All Face Gods, and you got my blog there, The Trickster's Middle Finger. So, there you go. And hopefully we don't hear that little weird noise again. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at all my programs running, seeing what the hell is beeping.
It is a permission slip, but it is
one of those little
also cosmically that's happening.
It's not for me because my volume's down. But,
okay, there is energetic,
tonight,
there is like
Chase
science behind the changing energy.
Let me find the title. I wrote out a title for the show.
It is really just not the symbol of a shift
really
in our
quick.
consciousness.
The title of the show is in our Ladies of Ufology series, Independence in Ufology, and UFO Organization Bullying.
I
know that's the title for tonight's show.
Yeah. I will be off work
about all kinds of other stuff too, but that's just the gist of it.
Doing my
What are you going to do?
What are you
going to do on the 21st?
I am. How are you guys?
First, and then I'm getting my mic out, and then I'm getting out my
and dry
artillery.
Alive and dry. Yeah, my dog just jumped on me. He was in the bed. He ran in here and jumped up on the couch.
The crazy shaven apes that go nuts when fire happens.
By myself with this weird rain.
We don't need them anyway. We can thin the herd a little bit.
Yeah,
it's okay.
In here with me.
I'm sure their DNA
Well, Chase, how are you doing?
Things are going really well. Still taking corners on two wheels. It seems like things keep piling on, but I'm loving it. Things are good.
I might be leaving the house too.
Well, first off, I just want
but has Bashir
you to tell us
talked to you about any kind
about
of
Epic. I don't know anything about Epic. It seems like a bunch of people who I know and are friends with are joining Epic. Like, I believe Jim Mars. Well, I'm not really friends with Jim Mars, but...
I mean, this is where it goes back to...
Yeah, me and Jim Mars are best friends. I helped him make that JFK movie. I'm just kidding. Nick Ripburn. Yeah, I'm sort of friends with them, but there are a lot of cool people joining Epic. So what's up with anything about them?
I mean,
I think. I'm not really sure. I joined them a while ago and actually accepted a pretty high position, but I kind of stepped away a lot. And I just hold a membership right now and really don't hear anything from them at all. I got busy. I wanted to focus on my show, and I really, especially after leaving one big organization, it was like, why did I join another one? Because honestly, I don't believe even remotely that these are the biggest influences in ufology or making the biggest strides in our field or the biggest contribution. So, I kind of took my out while I could. I was in MUFON for 14 years, but, I don't have the patience. A lot of the politicking and money matters, and I just don't have the stomach for it. It's like, let me just go do my thing. I'm an investigator, I'm a researcher, and I just want to get out there and, kick some butt.
That's a good point.
Do they even do
activity and stuff like that?
Do they even do investigations anymore?
Well, who?
I was like, I'm impressed that
they do. I mean, when I was there, there really weren't any. There weren't any really coming in, and what we were finding is all the investigators were busy
because they were getting their own cases. I get on my website, I have a report form that people can fill out, and between that and just email and the radio show that I have, we get cases and people asking us for information all the time, and but they weren't coming to Epic for their investigation. So it's a difficult thing to start, especially when there's so many people out there doing their own thing. 15, 20 years ago, if you left an organization, there really wasn't much for you to do. Now, everybody's working. I mean, everybody I know that's left and has decided to stay independent, jamming.
Because the overall concept he was talking about is that
no matter what the disaster is, and the people that's not doing the work are still
analyzing, and trying to put out there. It's always
or whatever.
Maybe that's part of it, I guess. I don't know. I love doing it, and I was afforded one of the best jobs I've ever had in my whole life. Being a MUFON, I love being with them. I honestly did. And when I was offered and appointed the Star Team manager, that was huge. That was an amazing experience. I got to write a national rapid response protocol. I got to write the entire program. I got to supervise some of the best guys out there. It was awesome. It was great. And who gets to do that? 14 years in organization, and everyone knows the Star Team manager at that time was in the DOI division, which is Director of Investigation. So it was a deputy director position. Everybody kind of saw it as third in command of MUFON. Come on, that was awesome.
But
we were freaking rocking too. We never had less. We had never had less than 9 deployments going on at the same time. We were
screw with you always if you want,
that group. All the gadgets and
well, we didn't have that. Let me tell you, the private collections were a lot more impressive than that stuff that was available. That takes a lot of money, and technology changes a lot.
Kind of an astral
I had some cool equipment for Star Team, but when you have
when I was
30 people just on the West Coast that don't have any equipment, and they're on a Star Team deployment, and you've got to mail this stuff out. It was very expensive.
At this point,
very expensive. $65 to get it to them, $100 to ship it back. It was crazy.
Would be consciously.
Well, it seems like when me and you looked into doing the Mavis thing, and I just couldn't do it. I could see how you were burned out with MUFON, but I tried to do the Mavis group thing, and I looked at it, and it was just thinking about it exhausted me. Basically, it's a group that's sitting there, and you monitor everything that happens in the sky, report it to you, and half which of that or more is probably government weird stuff and not alien at all. Not to say I'm absolutely right, but
no, it's even more than that. Statistically, 95% of everything reported is most likely explainable. I mean, that's statistically accepted in our field of ufology. 1% is absolutely, head scratching, most likely extraterrestrial.
Everyday practice.
And that's why we would hunt so fast or get so many, because you have to change 100 to get the one. Statistically, that's the accepted, ratio that we know is true.
Like I said,
and we know
if it was less than 95% or whatever,
I've got to be open.
I mean, that's pretty scary. That we have all this unknown stuff flying around in our skies.
If I do see a ship,
these drones are helping. That's it. But I also started program as Star Team manager, and that was called MATCON, which was, the MUFON activity condition, and we were really localizing trends over military bases, sacred sites, airports, nuclear sites, and just about that time, that program was actually getting worked and organized, because it was kind of taken over by somebody else that took it in a direction it wasn't meant at all. But, we were getting a handle back on exactly examining stuff, because I also asked, if we're getting these types of reports, and we're getting, 500 a month, we got to do something with them, guys. We got to do something with them. We have like all this available data, let's start trending. Let's, tell people where the hot spots are. Let's get this stuff out, It was very transparent program, which is pretty cool.
My God.
Wasn't that the whole point of MUFON in the first place? To just gather data? And then have a reporting module.
That I remember.
It was also investigations and scientific investigations for the betterment of humanity. So their investigators are very integral to so many people. And the headquarters knows that. They know that those investigators are the ones that get in their car. I mean, there's no money involved. They're the ones leaving families. Personal expense, personal. Even going to these places, it can get kind of scary. I'm 5'1", 95 pounds. I get in my car and I, to some backwoods here to a reporting site, where we don't take chances like that. We go with partners. But you know what I mean? There's some risk involved.
Take what they need and actually read it
God, let me ask a question for Christ.
No stars.
Not yet. Not yet, but I'm working on it.
I'm done.
So I'm working on it.
And a lot of the times,
when it comes to drones, is there any criteria to determine if these UFOs are drones at all? Because I know the FAA and the government just came forth and said, you got to make room. We're about to release, 30,000 to 100,000 drones in the sky, and all these airports and stuff are going to have to, make room for them. When any of these organizations,
and get our world in a better place. So there's a lot of
criteria, does the subject of drones ever come up at all?
It was always a concern, especially, on
around you,
and it wouldn't even be a STAR team issue. It would definitely be an organization or any investigator, whether you're an independent or with a group anyway, just because lights in the sky are our number one report. And not to say that all lights in the sky, which are considered a Category 1, which is the lowest priority, are insignificant because they're not. They can be very significant, and a lot of that is proven through some of the things that have happened, me included. But seriously, the drones have really caused a big issue because now they're the size of a hummingbird. They're going to have FAA type of lighting. So, as long as we're staying on top of these, it's crazy. I know one of the best investigators I know is Marilyn Carlson out in Oklahoma, and, she just had probably a year ago this case where these people, and it was 3 separate people, 2 of them didn't know each other at all. And, they reported, this wind over their head, and they couldn't hear anything, they couldn't see anything, but they could see the track of the grass being spun, and they were kind of thinking a crop circle, effect, because that's what the grass was like, except when they left, everything came back fine. And she knew that we had stealth helicopters. Well, she tells them this, and sometimes we know things, not officially, you know what I mean? We like to stay out of jail. But, they did not accept that report until the helicopter crashed in Pakistan, and of course now we know that they do have the technology for these, super silent, jet black, you can't see them, and about the best evidence you're going to have there even around you is the airflow coming down. So she felt pretty vindicated. But it's a constant struggle to know what's in our sky. We're fortunate that we also have engineers developing equipment for that. So, they can kind of look up and tell you if you're tracking something, and it's kind of the size of a tablet, and you put it up there and it scans it through the camera, and it will tell you if it's something, man-made or a star or it's amazing. So Thank goodness there's other people on that too, kind of helping us out.
Were there different color lights in different parts of the ship?
That's just, there's so many, you know, you got to focus the drone on, and I believe a lot of sightings are drones. One thing I wanted to ask you, are you allowed to discuss the case where the FBI was
kind of light up as you go?
Well, that was just recently on a radio show. We had a guest come on. I won't mention their name, you know, out of respect for him, but, you know, he came on our show, and next thing you know, I'm getting strange numbers on my phone. Well, I'm not picking them up because, to tell you the truth, I thought it was a local base number, you know, a military base. I knew it was a government number. I could tell because I get them all the time. But, you know, I just kind of blew it off, and then my co-host, poor Michael, calls, and he's like, I just got off the phone with the freaking FBI. Like, you know, and they wanted to know how we met our guest. Have we ever met him? How did we meet him? Do we know his connections? Do we know how long he's been in the country? You know, I mean, it was just this big, long thing. And, you know, it happens. It happens when you're out there.
So, what's your take on Ken Cherry? Because Angelia Joyner makes him sound like he's a giant douchebag. I've heard other people say the same thing. How do you feel about Ken Cherry?
Angela, I love Angela.
Okay. Love her too.
That's a good point.
I do too. I have the highest respect for her. Let me tell you,
because a lot of people
she
about them actually
is a little girl that stood up to those old boys, didn't she? I'm like, you go away. I love her. Yeah, I consider Angela my friend. I consider her a very good friend. I sincerely love her. I respect her greatly. And her opinion is,
when it comes to,
you know, absolutely mine too. We have different experiences.
The question?
We do have the
I don't even know who he is. He's a guy who's right?
Yeah, and he used to be state director of Texas and move on, but, you know, I don't really have much to say about him other than, you know, I just moved on. I will say that Angela and I had different experiences, you know, working with him, and I never doubted one thing she ever told me. I always took everything to heart, and because of her advice to me, I was very careful and stayed very business, and it worked out. You know, especially when I left, because there was none of the, you know, drama, so that was nice, really nice, but, you know, I will say that she's not wrong.
Or something, it's like, you just get a message delivered into your head, you know,
douchebag.
Non-emotional.
I didn't say that.
Is that a part of their hybridization process?
No, honestly,
is to gain
for Angela to
emotion,
come out
or is that
for Angela to come out and say things like that, it's mostly because she's very honest, and you know, and it was very, very difficult what she went through, and even through the personal, you know, the personal kind of bullying that she took, she protected those witnesses that she knew had the best evidence. She wasn't going to let them fall through the cracks. She is the epitome of how we're supposed to treat people when it comes to these investigations. We'll never betray confidence of anybody who told me anything, especially in an investigation. And, you know, if I have to leave an organization to do that, my integrity, I'm out the door. Yeah, no problem. And she's the same way. So in a lot of ways, she's an example. And that's always how I felt about Angela.
So the merging of our
so who's bullying someone right now? Is there a UFO organization bullying?
I see it. Well, I see a trend anywhere, and it's not just ufology. It's, you know, in the paranormal world, and, you know, and I think it's this new thing called social media. And it's so easy to jump on people. And I'm really offended by, you know, a recent thing that just happened to a friend of mine on his Facebook page, and, you know, when you can't answer a question anymore, you know, or if you leave something and you're considered the enemy because you don't pay your $50, you know what I mean? It's like, screw you, seriously. And, you know, taking personal attacks against the integrity of the type of investigator you are, this guy's been in the field for 30 years. That organization that they want to protect and defend, this guy held higher positions for more years than they've been in. You know, and to start coming after people like that, it shows no sophistication. And it's not helpful to these organizations when they're starting to get those reputations. You know, that's not important.
It shows that that's all they care about is money, and that's what I feel about MUFON. I feel that you got people, I don't know how many members are in MUFON, but let's say 100,000. I don't even know if they have that many, but 100,000.
Less than 3,000.
Okay, 3,000 times $75 a year.
I know that the
3,000 times $75 a year. I don't know how much that is, but it seems like that's the goal. You know, let's get that money. If you don't pay the money no more, then you suck. You're the enemy. He's got money.
Yeah, and, you know, I like when they want to discredit, you know, and it isn't MUFON, and it's not epic. There are people in these organizations. You know, I think that's the important thing to point out. These aren't things that are really even tolerated. They have specific protocols against them. You know, they don't want you speaking out and attacking people. But, you know, discrediting people that, less than a year ago, I was the star team manager, they were the star team manager. You know, come on, guys. Now I'm a loser and not very good in the field. Come on. Kiss my ass, really. That's how I feel about them. But they don't last, guys. You know, those tactics are they don't have longevity. They just don't. You know, you look at our leaders today. Who are the biggest guys for all the TV shows are going to, all the conferences are dying to have speak? Who are they? Richard Dolan, Nick Redfern, Peter Robbins, Leslie Kane, Bill Burns, Philip Coppens, David Chopra, Jim Marrs, Gerard Arston. How about Matt Maloney, Lee Spiegel? How about Bryce Zabel? All independent guys. They're not these organizations. They're not the authorities. They're not the big wigs. You know, these guys have put things out there. Their research papers, their books. You know, Richard Dolan wrote as far as ufology. That's our encyclopedia. We all live on his stuff. You know, we live on Peter Robbins. And let's point out, they're nice guys. They're not overloaded egos. They're not self-important. They make time for because they can. They're nice guys. You know. I don't know. I talk to Peter Robbins. Peter Robbins is a friend of mine. I adore him. He is the ultimate gentleman. Absolutely man matter.
With us.
Yeah, so these are people that represent independence in ufology. They, like you said, in the title, it's being independent.
Than any other species out there. Like, why are we lucky enough?
They don't work for anybody. And they never have.
Is it because of our
they're out there? Linda Moulton Howe. I mean, you know, I could continue to put out some of the biggest names out there, and you know. Who doesn't want to go and who would pay $50 to go see Whitley Strieber or, you know, Richard Dolan or Nick Redfern? You know, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's just, it's what I see. And I can tell you honestly, the hardest thing is when you do start putting together these big organizations, you have to have rules. You got to set standards because now you're in charge of a bunch of people that you're not in the same building. So, with that said, it just makes sense that they have to do this. When I'm running an investigation, I don't have to tell 15 people confidential information anymore. I can protect my witnesses. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to tell my boss, this is the case I'm working on, blah, 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 blah. You know, and I don't have to fear anybody coming in and stealing GPS coordinates, and the next thing I know, the case I'm working on is compromised because these other guys showed up first. It's awesome. There's something about being able to do this work with integrity and the freedom to do it right and not have to answer to 15 people and hope that they don't bag you. And so,
they're stunned by us.
And they try to sell your stuff to people, or they try to hide stuff they don't want you to release it to the public. Or, you know, they're just commanding and controlling, and most of that reason is because they're probably government sellouts.
I think they're in big support of the hybrid.
they're working for Big Brother. I'm not going to say I don't know anything about Epic doing that, but I believe they are government.
I was going to go back to another guest we had. Nigel Kerner did
to do whatever they want to me. It's already all been done. I promise you.
And
you find something new to get on me, go for it.
It would be the PR team, but they do have a little mob going on. So
technology into the body.
It reminds me of high school. It's like high school, There's one table got the jocks, the other table's got the gothic metal people, the other table's got the nerds, and who's going to sit at the cool table? Mufon goes over and smashes your mashed potatoes.
During the resurrection.
It seems like that.
And that would have been done with a human
body. Right. I'll be honest with you, I can tell you that being out here, and I don't know if it's because, as you guys well know, especially you and Guy, when you're doing a radio show, we talk to everybody. We're talking to boots on the ground, we're talking to authors, researchers, we're talking to these people all the time. And I don't know if it's because we have a rapport with them that it just seems like you're more networking. I love networking, I love working with other people. I love, sharing information. I mean, everybody knows they can call me, and if I've got it, it's theirs. It's been proven 100 times. Still waiting for a camera back from Illinois or Indiana, by the way. But that's how it goes, and we've got to cooperate. And these are also the leaders in the field, are people who network, and once again, they're nice guys. They're nice people. They're sharing their information. I mean, Richard Dolan put it in a book. It was an important book. It's kind of our encyclopedia of events. It's awesome. And it's just, for a little burn. Anybody that's finding a way to give out information, just like you and Guy, you're giving out information to the public. One of my friends, Kelly, she's got these classes that she's working on at IMU, and anybody working to help the public or anybody interested in this field, to kind of get on the right foot, get proper techniques, and get out there and rock. We're the winners in the end. These bullies don't last long. I've seen them come, I've seen them go.
Original great ideas.
We call a lot of them FNGs anyway. And if you're old like me, you know what an FNG is. It's effing new guy.
Star seeds,
whatever.
That concept that a lot of people get their heads around. Being the same.
No, not exactly.
And
I hope not.
Like you were saying earlier. So that was an idea that is just absolutely.
Here's what I want to do is
a lot of people
someone wants you to tell us the story, Lynn. I want to say one last comment, and then we'll go to break, and then I want to come back, and I want Guy to interact with you about the Mormon alien connection, because he knows more about that than I do, and we want to get into that a little bit, and like on the second hour, of course, Guy can interact a bit more with you with that, because he knows more about that, because he grew up in a Mormon
home. It's quite the merry-go-round right there to all fall in line, but if...
It's so funny, I'm like, Mormon, Amish, what?
Outcome from the hybridization project.
But, Chase is Mormon. Well, what's your family, Guy? There's something like that, aren't they?
Of our species with
they're Mormon, but they're not like some Mormon Amish,
Yeah. Well, what they call it, Mormon. I'll be honest, because I live a very transparent life, and everyone knows I talk too much personally, but I'm what they call a Jack Mormon, which means I actually hold the belief, but I also
they have all
do not have a temple card. So, I'm not living the principle, as they call it. So, I absolutely, with all my heart, believe in the Mormon faith, so.
Let's in the second hour get into that, and then Guy can interact. But one thing I want to say, the biggest bullies in this field, besides some of these organizations, are the government themselves. They're dealing with UFO agenda and alien agenda to their advantage, and they basically put out this information to cover up technologies that they have. We talked about this with the Great Bishop Show. There's a great book called Mirage Men by
any of them ever talk about anything like
Mirage Man,
and
the Paul Benowitz case with Greg Bishop, if you're not familiar with his book Project Beta, where they basically, this man was seeing weird stuff at his house, and government started talking to him and feeding into it that it was aliens when it wasn't really. It was really just government technology. The government has been using the alien UFO agenda to make us all into fools. And they're using it for their own advantage, and they're the bullies,
Absolutely. Well, look at the other things that we know they've done, too, just through the CIA with their, LSD and their, medication. Yeah, don't give me on that one, Jeffrey. We'll be here for another hour.
But I agree that, are the Phoenix Lights, in 97.
You got to remember, though, dude, when you say government,
they call them freelancers.
We're talking
about
they're
with the Shalinai.
CIA, military, FBI, these black projects and stuff like that. Dude, the civil government has no idea about any of this stuff. It's funny that they keep petitioning these people to... and they're just like, they already have a canned response made. You know what I mean? It's not going out anywhere beyond the little press room.
In a way, I guess,
they use that and all these people, and they just keep doing this stuff. And, it's a complete waste of time.
Our immediate children that'll come
the civil government, they're just puppets, and most of these agencies and stuff.
So they're kind of plowing their own way themselves.
Whatever's really the real people that are in charge of everything.
Nice, Bridget. It was great to have you on, and it absolutely flew by in 2 hours.
Hey,
and I guess
someone in the audience wants to know. I've heard the story. I'd like to finish the first hour with you telling us the story. You and Allison Burgess.
Yes.
My friend Allison Burgess.
Thank you so much for having me.
The story of y'all seeing the alien. And then we'll take our 10-minute break and we'll go into baptizing the dead with the Mormons. Turning better.
I'm going to smack him for that one. I love you, Jeffrey. That was almost 2 years ago, and we had a case in Middle Tennessee. It started out, a typical light in the sky, but, this is so credible. And, the one thing that caught my attention was when he said it happens almost every night. And so we did. We jumped in the car and we went out there, and of course this wasn't overnight. I interviewed him on the phone a few times. Over 2 weeks we stayed in touch. But basically we get out there in his driveway, and, he walks us kind of to the edge of his yard, overlooking this pond, and, he owned millions of acres. I don't even know how many. I'm exaggerating, of course, on the millions. But, he had this huge property, and all of a sudden he just kind of looked up. I mean, within minutes, he's like, well, that's what I'm talking about, right? And we looked up, and sure enough, here's a couple of those lights popping up. And, so truthfully, we're kind of looking for the opportunity for it to show up exactly so we can point out FAA lighting, and then they start acting a little weird. Allison and I are kind of looking at each other like, what the heck? And, but then he suggested we go into this cornfield because, it's open. This is in April, so the corn is, or May. I'm sorry, I think it was first week in May by the time we actually got there. And, the corn's only about 4 or 5 inches high, so it's real pliable. And, sure enough, we get out there, and it's this big, huge panoramic view, and there's these lights, and they're popping up all over the place, and, we're kind of looking at each other, scratching our heads like, what is going on here? And, we're writing, and, it was just craziness. And then he says, see, right now, here it comes, look at that. And we turn around, and sure enough, lights started coming coming towards us. They're getting bigger. You're feeling a little like, what the heck is that? And they're coming over, and then all of a sudden you see a third one, and then you're like, oh my gosh. And It's, no joke, a huge triangle going over our head. It was
Check out our archive.
Weird because the way it moved, it's so clearly not anything we've ever seen before. When people say how it's kind of slow and it doesn't really glide or fly, it's just really hard to describe until you see this. And it flew directly over our heads. I'm all excited. At this point, as it's coming toward us, we're grabbing equipment. I've got all sorts of equipment out there. You know, the cameras aren't working. We had 4 different types, makes and models. You know, nothing was working. Tri-field meter's not working. Everything's frozen. And, of course, the first thing I'm thinking was battery drain, which it turned out not to be. Our equipment was just frozen, is the best way. It wasn't long after the triangle went over our head, and I mean, we're beside ourselves. That was my first UFO experience, you know, or what I considered something that I've never seen before. It's unexplainable. I'm freaking out happy. You know, I've been hunting and investigating these things for 14 years, and it just flew over my head. Are you kidding? You kind of forgot about the dancing lights all around. And all of a sudden, I remember turning around to everybody in the field, and